All right, we are at the same buddy time, the same buddy channel, but Buddy's not here. It's me, Mr. Anderson, Rob Anderson. I'm joined by Mike. Mike, tell him who you are.
Mike Fasolo. That's it. That's all I really need to know.
That's it right there. You don't want to drop some Emmys, just that this is it right here.
I could drop all three of them, but make a lot of noise.
All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about social media currency. And you've been around, you've seen the age of social media come and the changes that have been going on with social media. How important is it, do you think? Because for me, you have to, I consider every minute of our life a currency that we get to spend, and you have to spend it wisely. How important is it really getting to know these social media platforms so you're not wasting your time?
I think you definitely need to know all of them because, if you can get on a few of them, you can just be like, okay, this is a nice place to be. Like, I think TikTok is one of those where it's mostly, weird little videos, but a lot of the others, you need a presence there just to really, get your face and your name and everything out there.
Absolutely. And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is you have to fight against algorithms these days,
Yeah.
which for those who don't know, and I could do a whole program. We only have 30 minutes and we want to get to the questions. So we're going to try to go through as much as we can, as quick as we can. What you need to know about an algorithm is it's deliberately scoring you. Every site, every different site we're going to talk about has a different algorithm. I will try to touch on what works and what doesn't work per that. If you have a question, shout it. But know that it's always changing. So you have to keep your fingers on the pulse to know how it's changing. I mean, Facebook just became metaverse and it's crazy. And there's always going to be changes. And understand you have to know where your biggest audience is. If you don't know where your biggest audience is right now, that means you don't have an audience.
Yeah.
Everyone should know where the biggest audience is. And just because your audience is big on this one doesn't mean you can give up on the rest. There's this idea that you can be really good at one and that's all you need. Not in this day and age, not with algorithms trying to deliberately keep you down as a creator. As an independent creator, you are constantly going to be struggling and trying to get people to see your information while other companies are trying to make you pay for it. So they're kneecapping you this entire time. Would you agree with that from what you've seen, Mike?
Oh, yeah, totally. You definitely have to spread yourself out and know where your big audience is because obviously they're the ones that give you all the likes.
Yeah, and one of the biggest mistakes I think new creators make is that you think, oh, I'm doing really good here, so I'm just going to focus on here. And I tell people all the time, that doesn't work for the simple reason, and this is just the truth. Eventually, your audience is going to be that small audience that's going to slowly get smaller and smaller because you're not constantly expanding. You have to understand people lose interest. People will suddenly decide, oh, I have this going on in my life. And it doesn't mean they don't love you anymore. It just means that life might have gotten in the way, money might have gotten tight. So you can't always expect the core audience to always support you. You got to constantly be building the audience. And you can't do that if you get comfortable. The one thing you're never going to be able to do is get comfortable with social media. You always have to be on your toes because you're going to have to look at analytics. How important are, I know that you've worked in Hollywood, you know the analytics behind. How important is it, like with the big boys up there in Hollywood, that analytics are looked at? Express this to the community watching this evening.
Oh man, analytics. I don't know much about analytics, but I know that they are, used to figure out what's going to be the new hot thing.
Yeah. And
or the new hot person. Yeah.
Yeah, and every platform has it. Facebook, you have to go a little bit more into looking at what's being liked in your view counts. And no, views have completely changed in the last 2 years. We're going to start with YouTube. And how we're going to talk about tonight, and I figured one of the best ways to understand this is to show something. So you understand a path that a project has. So I'm going to take a project that I'm part of, Eclipse here, the Hawaiian Protector. It's on Kickstarter. So we're going to start, believe it or not, Kickstarter is now a social media platform. It is a way to build awareness and to build an audience. As a matter of fact, it has social media components to it. I don't know if you know this, Mike, but every time someone backs this campaign, all of their friends are notified that are following them that, hey, I just backed this campaign. It is a great way to show that, hey, this is something that I really liked. I put money to it. And that can encourage other people to back the project. How clever is that?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I actually, is that an automatic thing that everybody's notified?
You automatically.
Oh, see, I thought you could do it if you wanted to. I didn't know it was automatic.
It's automatic, but everyone, unfortunately, with all the Kickstarter mail you get, a lot of people don't necessarily pay attention to it. So there's even a notify me button. So let's say that you just want to see it later, right? Like you don't know right now. And for those who don't know, and this is confusing, a lot of people don't realize this, and I don't know why. They don't make it more clear. The money does not come out right away. It does not. It comes out the day that it's going to be funded. So on this particular comic book that's on Kickstarter, Eclipse, the Hawaiian Protector, on Monday, November 29th at 3 a.m., that is when your bank will be charged. And it'll come out of your bank, your debit card, and all that stuff. So if you back this now, you're not going to pay for it until then. But a lot of people don't always know that. So they'll want to get notified when they know their financial situation a little better. So this Remind Me button here, that automatically will remind you on the Kickstarter platform itself up top as a reminder bar. So when you log in, it will show you. So this is why I like Kickstarter versus Indiegogo. They push the product. There's a better community behind it, and it's just something bigger. Have you ever backed a Kickstarter, Mike?
I've backed quite a few Kickstarters, and I occasionally think about trying one of my own, but I've never actually, been invested in it enough to be like, okay, I'm going to try this.
My new project is going to get Mike to do it by next year. We're going to work with Mike. We're going to get Mike to do one. It's a great way.
You start a Kickstarter to see if I'll start a Kickstarter.
No, it's a great audience, and with what you've done, you could build a new audience within this. I mean, Keanu Reeves has been here. I mean, I even heard that there's this company named Marvel that's been struggling all these years. It's finally got a dice game that they put out on Kickstarter. Maybe this Marvel company could finally make it.
Maybe it'll do something. You never know.
They have a dice game on it. So this is really now more of a social media site than just a crowdfunding platform that people aren't taking advantage of. I know Buddy's talked badly about it in the past, but I think he's even seen the light now that this is a great way for creators. However, the first stop we're going to make here is quality. Quality, quality, quality. This is being put out through Continuum Comics. And one of the things that we say at Continuum Comics is that we will never put anything out that we won't spend the money on for ourselves. A lot of the meetings behind the scenes is always, would I buy that? And if anyone pauses for a second, we know there's a problem. If no one's willing to put money on the table to buy that, we know we've done something wrong with the product. How important is quality? Because, I mean, you have been around the business. You've seen it. How much I can't express to the younger creators how important it is to always put out a quality product. Doesn't have to be the best in the world, but it's got to be quality. Can you just talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, it needs to be something that even in the early stages of this Kickstarter thing, like even just this cover that you're showing here, I guess it's just one of the panels. It looks good enough that you're like, okay, I want to see what else is going to happen here. And if you just had, stick figures drawn like, oh, it's going to look cool, no one's going to care. You have to have something that really draws the audience in and says, okay, I'm going to back this because, it looks pretty neat right now.
Yeah, and this is a big one, and I didn't even know this at first. For some reason, any writing on this will affect algorithms. So if you have any bit of writing on the actual Kickstarter itself, the image here, it can affect your algorithm. And one of the things that you want to do is you want to make a video. So now we're going to quickly, and I can cheat here because we're in the StreamYard, and Backer Pause, the show that's on Wednesdays where we look at videos, we actually have the video uploaded. So we're going to play this video, and we're going to see what the audience thinks of it. We're going to have Mike actually tell us what he thinks of it. And this is a very simple video, but I'm going to explain why a video is so important. But check out what Mike Seeley did for this project. Presented by Continuum Comics. This is the first issue of Eclipse, the Hawaiian Protector. In the wake of a catastrophic event, Eclipse has become a person of interest, being a suspect and connected to the catastrophic event itself. He has caught the attention of the government. With his intentions unclear, the government sends their fixer to bring in this so-called Hawaiian Protector. Meet Eclipse, the Redeemers, and the villain you'll never forget, Solar Flare. Thank you for watching and sharing this campaign and hopefully contributing. Check out the reward levels to find the rewards that fit with you and join us on this heroic journey. So what did you think, my friend?
That was very good. See, that had great artwork. It had a great storyline. You want to see what's going to happen to Eclipse, what's going to happen with Solar Flare. You want to get a little tease for the Redeemers. Who are they? What are they going to do? It was good enough to draw me in, and this is actually something that I would look at and go, okay, I can give them a few little bucks.
And how about that voice actor?
Yeah, that really pushed it over the top. That's what you need.
Now
But
here's
yeah, if the artwork itself looks fantastic, and that is enough to at least draw me in and say, okay, I can spend money on this to see what it's going to be.
now one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that when you make that video here for your Kickstarter, you can put it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And now by putting it on YouTube and in the comments section, putting all the information where the Kickstarter is, where all that is, it gives you the ability to then look at it. This is why it's so important to have your own channel, to have your information on your channel, and within the channel here, covering all the things. There's turning pages and heads.
Uh-oh.
I'm fighting with me. But here it is in the account. You can have on your channel itself, there's a YouTube studio that we're going to show you here. You're going to see a little bit behind the thing. You see all the different information. Now, a couple of things I want to warn you. First off, I used to have about 1,000 subscribers, and we had a copyright strike because of the show backer pause. We used to get them all the time because people were using copyrighted music, and we wouldn't. One of the biggest mistakes I made is I would advocate for anyone and wouldn't check their videos. They literally stripped me of every user we had. They suspended the account for 6 months, and it was devastating. And not just that, to YouTube's credit, a lot of people don't know this about their past. People were being really scummy, and they were paying people for not only views, but fake backers. And they were paying these people for basically bots. So now even to get a view on YouTube right now, I think you have to watch the video for 4 minutes or you're not counted as a view now, according to what people are saying on social media. So someone has to watch your video for at least 4 minutes. Now, so YouTube is hit or miss. Now, one of the things we're going to talk about later, and you said this is TikTok. One of the things I like about videos is they can be reused through all the platforms. If I make a TikTok, I can now put it on here because now they have shorts here on YouTube. One of the shorts I recently did had 5,000 views. One silly little thing, 15 seconds, like he said, Mike said, a silly little video, gave me 5,000 views. Now, if I knew that, I would have put more information in the link area. I didn't expect it to go viral. I would have had something there. It was really just me being silly, and it was all of this. I'll tell you what it was, Mike. It was I found myself really clever one morning, and I was like, ooh, from now on, I'm going to tell anyone who messes with me that the first thing I'm going to be is, what game setting do you want me on now that you're messing with me? And I'm like, you want to try God mode? And I thought I was really clever and funny, and I got and I knew it worked. You want to know how I knew it worked? Because I got 43 downs, like down thumbs. I was like, yes, I'm a success. 43 down thumbs. The point I'm trying to make is you never know what your content's going to go viral and what content's going to hit a nerve and really get looked at. All you can do is constantly put out content. You're a creator, put out content creator. That's why I like TikTok. It takes 1 minute. Sometimes these videos you spend 2 hours on, 1 hour on. You see these talking heads all over social media. 6 people on a screen, 4 or 5 of them are just like in the background. They look like they're about to pass out. No one looks happy. They actually look like they're prisoners of war instead of being part of something. They're just like, is it my turn? Is it my turn? Is it my? And you get the one person who always and they never pick him, and he's always in the background. And people, especially coming out of the pandemic, they don't want that. They don't want that kind of content. They want quick, in-your-face content. So when you're doing your YouTube, forget how many subscribers you have unless you're trying to monetize. Worry about the content. If you're trying to monetize a channel, good luck. It is so much harder now to do anything on YouTube because people have made this a business. There are now people, and we're going to talk later about apps that you can use to help your algorithms and help different spots at the very end. I don't necessarily use it, but that's one of the things. But right in here, you can see copyright, monetization, customization, but analytics. Analytics here is so important. And I'll give you a look at what I've seen. So I had 9,000 views, 37-hour watch times. This is the last 28 days, and I've gotten 4 subscribers. See the little bumps here. We're not going to be perverted with the bumps. We're just going to call them bumps. We see the little bumps here. And this is just right there. You can see I had a video that had 3,000 views for some reason on the 24th. No idea why. I was suddenly one day 3,000 views, and you're never going to know that. But by tracking this is always say hi, Jax, as he's trying to get a game. But how important is it to really see this information? Do you think, Mike?
This is really important because I didn't even know they did this, because this actually shows you what you're doing well and what is and isn't working. And this is actually pretty fascinating. I didn't know that they had all this behind the scenes stuff. I thought it was just like you throw your stuff up and hope for the best. I mean, I figured they would have this, but not show it to you.
No, it's just there, and no one's really looking. This is how people don't know. And I know a lot of people want to fake it till they make it. Stop faking it, because anyone can go through your channel real quick and see how many views you have. It's not private information on YouTube. Don't try to act like you're bigger than you're not, because all it will do is turn people off. Build good content.
Yes.
Not stress that enough. Put out quality. People will respect it. People will do it. And remember, if you make it on YouTube, you make it small enough, you can put it on Facebook. You can chop it up and put it on TikTok. I see creators doing that now. You get a little bit of the video editing. You can put it on Instagram even. Don't look at it as I'm just going to put something on one of these sites and throw it away. No, find a way to put them on all the sites as we're going into this. I can't stress that enough. You want to be able to do it. But understand, YouTube's been abused, so they do have stricter standards. Now, of course, we talked about the importance of YouTube and Kickstarter. One of the things I want to talk about is an email list. Mike, do you have an email list?
I do not have an email list.
I didn't believe in email lists. You want to know why I didn't believe in email lists?
Why is that?
The government said they were going to stop allowing email lists to exist. So I actually thought the government was going to do their job, and they were like, "Oh, we're just going to make this spam." I'm like, I kind of hate my email. Every one of my emails has spam. The minute I put it on social media, I'm subscribed to everything in them.
Yeah.
Even stuff that I'd never subscribed to. I'm like, why? So they're selling emails. So I thought they were really going to crack down on this. Turns out they didn't.
Absolutely
I squandered an opportunity to build an email list. An email list is really awesome. You go to MailChimp, send out a newsletter once a month, and you get subscribers. I do that with comicbookadvocates.com, which you guys all know that I run. You can see it up in there in the corner. I have 46,000 subscribers. The problem is I put out so much different content, and this is so important to know right now. People don't know what to make of the site, so when they see something they don't like, they just silent the emails. They unsubscribe to actively getting the emails. So it's so important in this day and age to cultivate your message. We're going to talk more about that on TikTok and the different actual profiles you can have on TikTok and why those are so important when we get to TikTok. But understand this. Know who you are as a creator. Don't go out of that lane. Understand it. If you're a creator who's going to be creating a lot of different stuff, build yourself as the brand. One of the biggest mistakes I made early on was not building myself as my brand. I make comics about fetish monsters and more, but I was pushing comic book advocates at the same time. I confused an audience. It took a while to then unpack me and make me Mr. AnderSin, who is a comics advocate, who is a comic book creator who does fetish monsters and more. Now that I unpacked it, people understand it more now better. And he's got an exciting game in the middle of the show that has to be watched right now. Oh my God.
It's so analytics. See, he's popular.
Right there. YouTube just got another hit.
Yep.
And Legos is probably going to get me to spend more money on them. But it's so important that you know analytics, and it's so important you know what's hitting for you. Know what you're going to do as a brand. Know how you're going to brand yourself. And that's a whole different conversation for a different day. Branding is important. It's so important that you understand branding. We should do a show just about branding. I could talk about that again for another hour, but we're down to 30 minutes. So let's talk about Instagram. So Instagram, if you're not an artist, is generally, as a writer, Instagram is this foreign land that no one ever goes to as a writer. We just go to say thumbs up to our friends, right?
Yep.
Like, oh, cool. I love this cover. My friend does that. The downside is that there aren't a lot of link capabilities. So when you put a link in Instagram, a lot of times it doesn't automatically propagate. Is that the right word? Where it automatically comes out and makes itself a link?
Yeah, sounds good.
I sounded smart there. We'll go with that one. So when
it's you college word.
Yeah, there we go. It goes to the site you want. Instagram doesn't do that a lot, and Instagram is very image driven. Now, one thing you could do with Instagram that's really smart is to put a website at the bottom of all your images. go to here for more. Really simple to just do that, even down here in your thing. But a lot of times I'm seeing a lot more artists just on the side here. You could put a crawl that said, would say, and this would be a perfect example, and I'll talk to Mike about this, eclipsecomics.com for more information. That little bit amount could get people to type for it. Instagram's important to be on if you're a writer. Now, one of the things I've been doing as a writer is I'm putting my videos from TikTok onto Instagram. And guess what? From having 5 followers, I now have 150 to 200 followers on one of the profiles. Again, this is a cultivated site. So I have one for Mr. Anderson. I have one for Comics Unleashed. I have one for Cat Dad and Superman, which you see right there. And we have one for Continuum Comics. And then I have one. The one for me as a brand. And you have to understand the reason you do these different profiles, you want to stay on message, stay on brand, so people don't have that moment of, well, this is too confusing. I don't know what they're about. I don't want to support them. Whether we like it or not, people are now trained to understand things very simply. They want it packaged and simple. If you kind of throw off your branding, like do not talk about politics, do not talk about religion, save that for Thanksgiving. Let it all out on Thanksgiving Day. Let your family deal with that. Do not get involved with things that do not directly affect you or your brand immediately. Now, if politics comes up in one of your comic books and someone calls it out, be gracious on social media. If you don't agree with someone, be like, hey, I don't agree with them. You do not need to win a contest online. You're not, no one won the internet. We checked. Everyone has tried, and so far, no one has won the internet.
I'm still trying.
Yeah. And, yeah, so Instagram is one of these things where I'm still confused by it because I'm a writer, and it's like, I don't understand it because I can't put my words where I want them to, but the videos work really well. And if you're an artist, you have to be on Instagram. Us artists will help you. But one of the things that you also want to do is Deviantart. Deviantart is a good also site for artists to be on. Little less social, little less sharing, but definitely a great place to be. And then we want to talk about, okay, so we have Twitter, which Twitter is basically like that 1 hour hotel that you all know what I'm talking about, but it has hourly rates, right? It all has that. And you guys can see, of course, the last Twitter I had on here was which that was an interesting image to come up in my feed. We'll go to this one. We'll go to Happy Birthday, Steve Ditko.
check your history on that.
So here we go. Happy birthday, Steve Ditko. So this is on the Twitter feed. This is the Indie No one. So for even Twitter, I have cultivated. I have different Twitter accounts for different things I do. The Indie No, I talk a lot about indie creations. I have one for the comic book advocates, which actually has our site deliberately put all of its stuff in immediately. We have one for the Comic-Con Highway. We have one for Backer Paws. I'm cultivating these brands because I want them to stand on themselves, and I want people to interact with them. How important it is to do that for interaction for you, Mike? Do you think that's the easier way is when you really understand what someone has a brand for?
Yeah, definitely. Because you see, like, I mean, if we're looking at the Twitter here, it's good because you can put on the words and the pictures, which, you know, as you were saying on Instagram before, you really can't. It's mostly just the pictures.
Yeah, and we can type things like Scout can tell us about 6 years and used an image. The only problem with this is just like that hourly hotel, it disappears very quickly. There's only about 5 minutes of action and then it's gone. Just like the hourly hotel. So it's in and out, and that's the end of Twitter. Hashtags, so important. I've waited for Twitter to mention hashtags. Hashtags work extremely well on 2 platforms, 3-ish, and we could have D chime in on this one. Instagram, I think it works good. I heard it works good. I haven't really seen it work good personally, but I can tell you on Twitter, absolutely. Twitter is the home of hashtags, and so is TikTok. So if you're going to be on Twitter, learn about hashtags. What are hashtags? They're words with the little number sign. Like if you're old like me, it was the thing you used to hit pound. That's a hashtag, and you put a word there, and it gives people access to it. So in other words, if I want to look at a hashtag and I want to do Wonder Woman 80, it shows me all the things for Wonder Woman 80, and it's a quick way to search out Twitter using a hashtag.
See all those things that are trending.
Yes. So hashtags are important. Learn them. And what I do in my actual phone here, this is a little tip for you guys. I have preset hashtags for when I do certain posts. I'm horrible at doing it on Twitter. I know what I just said about doing it on Twitter, but I do a lot of automated stuff. and I don't actually put it. I put it, here's a tip, in my site at the bottom, so the hashtags automatically go in there. It reads it and scans it, but I never show it on the actual post. But then when I do post things later, like now apparently we're on Twitter Live, by the way. This is crazy. We're actually on Comic Book School. This was Buddy said we're going to go live on Twitter. I'm like, we're not allowed to. They only allow like 5-minute videos, but apparently they brought back Periscope, which, by the way, subscribe to Comic Book School by Buddy Scalera. And happy birthday, Mrs. Scalera.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, subscribe now and hit that follow button, which I'm apparently not following. There we go.
Oh, that's not good.
I don't want to unfollow, obviously, but you hit the follow, and then you do that. You're here, and now you're part of the family with Comic Book School. But we're live here. Look, oh my God, we're on Twitter.
That's like one of those mirrors where you just keep seeing things that are happening.
Is that me from a minute ago? Wait a minute, is this multiverse? Oh my God! So this is Twitter. Twitter. We're going to see Twitter. Twitter's hurt. Facebook is a little hurt right now, so Twitter's trying to step up a little, or Meta. Which we'll talk about Meta now. Facebook. Oh boy, here comes Facebook. And the minute I bring up Facebook, it's going to pop up like an instant messenger of someone telling me something silly. It always happens. Okay, no whammy. All right, someone will message me in the middle of this, and it'll be a joke that's inappropriate. Because that's what always happens. So we're not going to stay on Facebook very long because it always happens to me. But like Facebook is one of those things. Share. If you're a creator, share other creators' stuff. Help us all rise together. It is so important. I know Buddy hates Facebook, and there's a lot of reasons to hate Facebook. They don't make it easy to like them, but they are the king right now of social media. You have to have representation on the Facebook. You got to be on the Book of Faces, and you got to play with their meta, whatever the hell's next. Apparently, we're all going to have avatars like the James Cameron movie Avatar. We're going to walk around in blue skins. I don't know what's going to happen next. This Zuckerberg guy is trying to dodge the Congress so quickly. So I don't know what changes are coming, but there will be changes coming. And I just realized, like, for a half an hour now, we've been in the wrong room. So let's go back to Comic Book School. So here we go, back to Comic Book School. So, yeah, but you have all your friends on here. Danny J. Quick, great creator. Follow him if you're not already. But this is a way to interact. There's a lot more give and take. This is where you have conversations with other creators. Like, I met George Gant, and he does this amazing thing called Toddlerhood, which is on Kickstarter right now. It'll be in Backer Plus. I can share this by, look how hard this is. Look, guys, that's it. And now I can share it. I can share it publicly. I can put a newsfeed thing. I can share it to a group. Oh my God, how much did that help? I did it during a live video. Oh my God, the technology that we have at our fingers. Share what you like. Talk about it when you share it too. Go in and say, I really like this. This is why. Do it because it helps the industry. If you don't like someone, don't be negative. No one wants negativity on their stream. Be positive. You don't like someone, save it for like the coffee clutch where you all sit around and talk. I know you all do it, so save it for the coffee clutch. Don't do it on social media. You know, there's a difference between calling out. So I'm not playing you Facebook ads here. There's a difference between calling someone out because they're toxic to either fans or other people, and then actually calling people out just to start fights. Don't do it, guys. Leave Facebook to be a professional tool for you guys to use, to support each other, to have conversations with each other, and to try not be on it as much as you can be. And then finally, we have the Wild West of social media. And this is the one where Mike's like, these guys are just silly. These guys are silly, but I'll tell you this, TikTok, I don't think is silly. And again, let's look at the analytics here. So in the last 7 days, I had 212 views. Like I took off basically Halloween, so I've had a little less views now. You go over here, you're seeing the views. I had 830 views. You look over here and you see all the amount of views that you have. This is videos themselves. So you go over here to your list. It tells you all the different followers you have. This is something that you have to do. I mean, in the last 60 days, this is just for comic book school, comic book advocates, by the way. On my Mr. AnderSin, we have broken 120,000 views in 60 days.
Nice.
So
see, I would be looking at this page every single day.
Yeah, it becomes addictive.
Yeah, multiple times. I'd be checking in constantly to see if the likes went up, the views went up, everything.
It only updates every 12 hours, from what I've seen. So do it on a 12-hour rotation, but this is a great way. And it's going to be harder. It's harder on TikTok to get people to follow you. You got to put out content. What I like about it is it's 1 minute. And with my ADHD, I can actually focus. Like, I love this show because we get to change subjects all the time. Maybe talk about one thing for 10 minutes and I get lost. I'll be talking about My Little Pony. For some reason, I don't even follow My Little Pony. But this is so important. Look at the actual content. And again, when it comes to these, you have to have a clear message for the different brands. So Comic Book Advocates is different than Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson is about getting to know me. So when you go to my Mr. Anderson thing, I do zany things. I have videos, I do duets, and I talk about comic book history. I make it about who I am as a person and what interests me. And 496 people decided, 97 now, apparently. I got another one. Cool. Another person wants to follow me. And I do try to follow people back. I find it interesting. One of the things I will say is never beg people to follow you. It looks so stupid. Don't trade follows. Let people genuinely want to follow you, because here's the problem with and there are people out there who follow people and then unfollow them just to get followers. The problem with that kind of stuff is, at first, it messes with your algorithm because the companies know what you're doing. Second, you're making your feed something you're not going to want to watch. And third, you're actually hurting other people and yourself by filling your coffers with people who really aren't interested in you. So you're never going to have your analytics really show up and tell you what's working and not working. Because especially on TikTok, it's the people who like your profile, who become your followers, that first see your video. And if they don't watch your video doesn't get as many views. This is an algorithm where you need the people following you more here than anyone else to be really engaged. And there's me eating a pretzel. I
was going to say,
there's a reason. There's a.
I was wondering what that was.
It was a TikTok thing. You have to go there now to see. This is a way to get. This is the hook here. Go to TikTok to find out how. And while you're there, hit the like button. You don't have to follow me, but give it a like because it's a funny one. But that's it. This is TikTok. This is just getting quick content out that you can interact. The thing I love about it is I can stitch my fellow creators. So this morning, Danny J. Quick, we had talked about him. I don't know why they're not showing me in order. This apparently must be my most popular videos recently. So Danny J. Quick had this. Here it is. He had this Scarlet Ranger thing, and it's on Kickstarter now, and he's talking about it.
What's up, everybody?
And that's Danny, and he talks really excited about it. So I got to hit a stitch button, and I got to promote this, and all it took me was about 75 seconds, and I got to help 2 creators at once, and we're trying to grow each other's audience. This is about rising up together. And even though I wanted to do this in 10 minutes, it's been 32 minutes. I know there's like 55 comments. Do you want to, we can't run through them all. I'll give it, normally Buddy's going to be mad because he leaves for one day and it's going to be over 32 minutes. He's going to be like, Rob, you had one job, 32 minutes. And I'm like, what can I say? I got staying power. D's not on yet. D, come out, play.
Okay, I got a couple questions. Do you want me to bring them up?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's speed around this mic.
All right, here you go.
You have to understand the algorithms. The question is, how do you, in God's name, do you outsmart algorithms? You have to understand them first. How do you understand them? Trial and error and talking to other people. I talked on average to about 30 different people on different platforms about what's working for them. Also find the people who are viral and who are taking off. On TikTok itself, there are literally channels now that all they do is talk about what helps you go viral. And if you follow it, you will. The problem is I'm not an attractive female. It is always going to be harder for me to actually get the followers and do the things like they want you to dance. No one wants to see me dance. I guarantee you.
People want to see you dance.
No, I will be kicked off of TikTok. No, they will be like, get out.
Hey, listen, I might not be the one to say this, but you do a lot of your videos shirtless. And there are women on social media platforms too. There are gay men on social media platforms. They don't mind seeing you with your shirt off, Rob.
I'll say this. I've already gotten a couple fans and from both genders. I will say you might have to show
if that's the kind of attention you want to get. I'm just saying.
It should be shirtless and dancing.
It's hot in Florida. Nobody gets that. Like, it is hot in Florida. I am sweating doing this right now. There's a waterfall on my back. You don't see it. This is the cost of being fancy in Florida. What do you think, Mike? Any other suggestions on that one?
Well, like I said, I think shirtless and dancing, that's the way to go.
I meant the algorithms, sir.
The algorithms, yeah. I would really need to do some more research on algorithms because I have no idea about anything.
They're the new evil monsters that lurk.
Yeah.
trust that. All right, what else you got for us, Dave?
Okay. The next one that I had was about LinkedIn. We were talking about other platforms. ArtStation for artists is another one, like Deviantart. But what do you think, especially in the comic book field, about LinkedIn becoming a more social media-based platform?
I'm on LinkedIn. I think it's great for accolades. Definitely when you're working. I'm sure, Mike, you should talk more about this. I'm sure LinkedIn works a lot more for you. When you're just Rob, no one cares about me on LinkedIn. That's the problem. You have to have accolades for LinkedIn to really matter. If I tell them I'm the creator of Cat Dad and Supermom, until it goes to Netflix, no one cares on Netflix. I mean, on LinkedIn. The minute it does, and I put that, and I have 3 Emmys, like certain people in the room, I'm going to get 4 now. That's right, Mike. I'm coming for you. I'm going to get 4. But no, seriously, what do you think about LinkedIn? Have you?
I honestly have not been on LinkedIn in a very, very long time. And I'm constantly being bothered by people who are like, "Hey, join LinkedIn." And I'm like, I just don't have the energy to get on LinkedIn, even though it doesn't take a lot and you just got to join up and sign in and do everything. It's too much for me.
All right, so yeah, LinkedIn. I haven't seen. DeviantArt works better. Twitter works better for finding fellow creators. I know Global Comics is trying to make a section about that, and Comic Book Advocates actually has the actual comic book virtual artist or creators alley, as we call it. It's the artist alley where you can find people, but it's generally word of mouth. It's comic books is a knit industry. There's pockets of communities. We all talk, and it's really by reference that people get jobs. That's why when one guy makes it into Marvel and DC, you see 10 other people go with that person, guy or girl. When I said guy, I just meant that as a person. A person gets in there and they bring their friends, and that's why you'll see waves of certain people showing up in certain groups that you saw when they were indie come up together. That's why I always say we rise together.
Yep.
What else you got for us?
I got a couple questions for me, so we'll just read them out. How often do you compare analytics?
Every day on certain platforms, like on TikTok, I'm seeing what's working. On YouTube once a week. On Twitter, barely ever. Because Twitter is like, it's a dumpster fire that's in a flood driving by. And if you're lucky, you hit gold, but a lot of times you just get shit on your shoes. Sorry, that is Twitter. And my doesn't mean it doesn't work. Here's the thing: it doesn't matter. You still have to be on it, because on the days that you hit gold, it's worth it. You're a miner. I want you to understand that on social media, you are a miner looking for the gold, and the gold is views. Forget about hearts. You cannot take hearts and you cannot take likes to the bank and cash a check with them. You can't do it. You need engagement. People having conversations with you. People sharing your stuff. Forget a like. Keep your like. I want you to hit share. Hit share and talk to me about what made this exciting for you. What you got next?
Next one is do you feel it's better to spend time on a pro and personal account or invest in only one account per platform? What's a more efficient use of your time?
How much time do you have is the answer. The more time you have, the more you should diversify yourself. The less time you have, make it the impact count. So if you're a single parent and you have 2 jobs, I'm not going to tell you to hit 5 platforms with 4 different accounts for each platform. It does not make sense. Make yourself the brand at that point. If you are really stressed for time, make it about who you are. That is the advice I give to every creator, because you're going to be a creator. Stop trying to make your comic more important than you. Because if you make yourself the center of it, you can always talk about that comic, but when the next project comes up, you're not stopping and hitting the brakes and swerving and going, well, I also do this now, guys. And people are like, whoa, you can't do that. You were the guy who only did this. So that's the danger of it. Mike, anything to add?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. If you have the time, definitely diversify. But if you are just, you only have a limited amount, make that one thing count for everything.
Yep. Cool. And like we said, sharing the content. Video on TikTok, you can now put it on Instagram. You can put it on Twitter now, because they have Periscope. For those who don't know, the reason we can go on Twitter now is they have integrated Periscope into Twitter. And you can put it on the Facebook. Even has Reels now, by the way, guys. If you're not looking, they actually have Reels now, so you can do it there. And even YouTube has Shorts to compete with TikTok, because TikTok changed the game. Because it's basically this Generation X's attention span is TikTok. That's
Yeah.
why you use TikTok.
That's why Robot Chicken works.
Robot Chicken's awesome. I can watch 100 episodes in 2 hours.
Yep.
All right, what do we got next?
Okay, so the only other question that came up was what are some other platforms? So we've got your standard Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We mentioned LinkedIn and ArtStation and DeviantArt. Any others we want to throw out there?
No, I do know there are others, and I know that people might comment on some other ones. The reason I won't say the other ones is I don't have experience with it. I came to talk from my personal experience. If you guys have one that you think works for you, by all means, shout it out now. I'm only going to go with my experience. That again, I choose Kickstarter because of the algorithm, the stuff that they give me, the tools they give me. I've had a bad experience in Indiegogo. That's why I personally use Kickstarter, but I know a lot of people are very successful on Indiegogo. So it's really where you're finding success. If you can find a platform that's successful for you, embrace it, but never forget about the other ones, especially the more popular ones, because that's where people are migrating. If they're migrating there, you have to find a way to be on there. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think you have to find your audience, go where your audience is, but also if there's a platform that works better for you, I understand focusing on that as long as you don't focus on that with blinders on.
Yep. Yeah. You can focus on it, just don't forget the other ones exist.
Right.
Mike, anything?
Yeah, I don't know too much about any of the other ones. Like I know the big ones, but even the little side ones, like Indiegogo to me is, I have no idea what's on that. I guess it's just like Kickstarter, but I have no experience on that one at all.
Okay.
All right. Do you have any more, Deeks?
Just one from Philip.
Oh, I was about to say, that's a really good question. How much time, now people will not believe me when I say this. When I first started this, it was a lot different. The tools to do things weren't the same on WordPress as they are now. But generally speaking, I have an autistic son. I have a bad back. I've never hidden this. There are days I can't even get out of bed. I recently had a spell where I literally did this show from my bed on a laptop, and I would not get on camera because all you would see is like, help me. I look like more something from Doctor Who, or the bad guy in the background, one of the Daleks inside the machine. So every day for 1 hour, I give me alone time, self-care time. And I do a lot of my TikToking in front of, and you guys have seen me if you see my TikToks. There's that lake behind me, or the bay. It's not a lake. It's actually a bay. And I sit there and I play with TikToks. I laugh. I answer some emails, and that's me time. I have that hour also just for me, but I do about 20 minutes of TikTok. I do about an hour during the day with other social medias, and I'm doing it. But my whole goal here, again, is to make this content I make go to all the different platforms I can as often as I can. But you also have to be mindful of oversharing. That's something that will affect your analytical score. So if you're making something, you want to share it to 6 different places, make sure that's a home run. It is something you believe in. And when it fails, do not beat yourself up. Quickly pivot and move on. We were talking about earlier, and I do want to mention this before we go, the actual apps that can go to different platforms. I've used them in the past, and when they work really well. Now they charge for them. They used to be free back in the day. Yeah. The ones that really work do work. WordPress, I put up something on my site. It goes to Twitter. It goes over here to this WordPress site. It goes to this Twitter. It goes to this Facebook. And when Facebook's not being Facebook, it actually does go to the different sites. And we get thousands of views a year, tens of thousands of views on that site with me not promoting in Facebook groups anymore because of all my advocating. Facebook hates me because I've helped other people so much. I'm on a 24-hour ban right now for people reporting me for whatever reason. I don't care because I'm not going to stop. You're not going to stop me, Meta. I'll just get a fake account like all the teenagers do, and I'll beat your little thing, and I'll be on Facebook under Bobby AnderSin. And then I want to Bob AnderSin, and then it'll be Roger for whatever reason. Rod, you're not going to stop me, Meta. You're going to waste too much time trying.
All right. 2 more questions. We've got one from Philip, and then I have one. So do you curate your TikTok very often?
No, I just post stuff. It's crazy. There's no curating. Like, I just let my mind go crazy on TikTok. Really, like, oh, that's funny. I'm going to do that. And I see what works and doesn't. For my other channels, Comic Book Advocates, it's all about comic books. Comics Unleashed, it's about Freaky Friday. And it's about the comics themselves and a lot of stuff about me kind of interacting with Kink Talk. Yes, that's a real thing. And it's awesome. And it's awesome. Yes, go look it up. You will love it.
I'm gonna have to look that one up after.
Kink Talk is a real thing, people. And then for Continuum Comics, it's only Continuum. So right now we're talking about the Eclipse Kickstarter, which we have put on every single one of these platforms, Eclipse Comics. And we have successfully already hit our goal. Mike is talking about stretch goals, and we're starting to build bigger and bigger. And that's all about the interaction with the fans. Interact with your fans. If someone makes a comment, make a comment or like what they said. Always interact with people commenting. If you don't, you lose someone. Trust me, engaging with people matters. I mean, everyone in this room, I'm sure you like when someone acknowledges that you said something, right?
Yeah.
Crazy, right? But I see all these creators who will just have all these comments, and then I literally ask people, they'll put something on my profile. Hey, we do backer pause. This is what backer pause is. This is what we're going to do. Agree to these terms, and I'll have you on my show. We'll show your video for free. We literally are now putting it on TikTok with hundreds of viewers on TikTok. All you have to do is agree to these terms. They never get back to me. How does that work for you? It doesn't. Respond when someone does something.
Yes.
Stop acting like, oh, well, someone said something, but I'll check it in like 2 weeks when it won't matter. And yes, people do that. We're 2.5 weeks later. We'll say yes, and I'll be like, too late. I'm not doing it now.
Yep. That is one of my pet peeves when people don't reply, because it takes nothing. It takes, even if you just write thanks, that's all you need.
Right.
Just as long
Just
as you're
an
acknowledgement. Yep.
Yeah.
What was the last question? Buddy, it's so bad. I'm like 15 minutes over.
We did chat it up a bit. My last question was, and you might not do this, but some people do. Do you plan your social media posts, or
do I look like a planner?
Yeah, I know. I know. Look at who you're talking to. Okay. Because I've been talking to a lot of people like, do you post like oh, this is my Christmas post, or oh, this is my Hanukkah post, or oh, this is my 2 posts for the week, or oh, I definitely have to have a post on this platform this month. Like, do you plan in a way that like you want to make sure to get it up to be consistent, or do you plan? Yeah, I know I said it. Do you plan what you're going to post? That's what she said, Rob. That's what she said.
I to, not only try to get it up, but I try to keep it up as
long as possible.
No, seriously. I do think of some things like this week with Eclipse. These are the points I want to hit. I want to make sure I'm on these platforms. I actually look and I go back and look at my own platforms and go, oh, idiot, you didn't put it on ContinuumComics.com. Why don't you try that? I mean, it is the company putting out the Eclipse comic. Why don't you do that? And then, you know, it's that piece of paper in the garage that has all these people who sign up to the newsletter that someone didn't type in. Sure, leave it to the dyslexic to type in scriggly words. We're going to see how that works. But no, seriously. Yes, I plan some of the stuff. TikTok, I don't plan a lot because it's interacting, it's duetting, and I let it be spontaneous. But there are other things that, I mean, I had a meeting. Dean knows this last night. We had a meeting. It started at 9 o'clock, like 8:39. I thought I'd be able to talk to Dean around 10:30. That meeting went to midnight, and some of it was, well, how do we chart this path? It's like a star path. I want to hit this point. I want to hit this. I want to hit that. How do we get to all these different parts? Especially with Kickstarters, you have stretch goals, and how do you manage talking about the stretch goals? You saw the new art on the Eclipse page. I change art. We're going to change videos. I like to keep things interactive and different because I have the attention span of a child. I'm already on to my next show, which is the Comic-Con Highway. I'm already planning it. We're doing it in 10 minutes, which it's literally 10 minutes. I'm going to change. I will change a shirt and I will go do a different show. But I have had planned it. I did have this mapped out in my mind. I know what my topics are going to be. Dee knows, and Mike even saw it in the private chat. I sit there on my phone and I write out what I want to talk about, the points. If you ever saw me looking down tonight, I was reading off my screen the different parts so I didn't forget. So it's always good to keep notes, and it's always good to have a plan going into it. It doesn't have to be an in-concrete plan. Like, I didn't write a script for myself for tonight, but I knew where my talking points were, and I give myself little notes to know, hit this, talk about that, and do that. What do you think, Mike?
Well, you're good at it, because I wouldn't have been able to go for, how long did we go? 50 minutes just talking about algorithms and stuff.
I could talk
did a good job.
There's a woman out there right now who's like, I could fall in love with that man because the way he talks about algorithms, algorithms get me excited. I don't know what it is. It might be my new kink. I just love an algorithm. It's those those valleys and peaks. I don't.
Yep. As long as you can keep it up, that's all you need.
Trust me, I'm good at keeping it up. All right, so that's it for today. This will be the last time, by the way, I'll be hosting this, and Buddy will be back next week and never leave again. Buddy will be here permanently. Make sure you go to the comic book school forums and talk to us and interact with us. That is the final social media site that you have to be on. If you're not on it, then you're missing all the behind the scenes things that we do on Comic Book School. It is an asset. There is stuff that literally tells you how to make a comic book now. If you guys spent the time to go on it, Comic Book School again is one of those sites you need to be on. Comic Book Advocates for advocating. And if you want to watch awesome TV, Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got that plug in there.
At least it'll rot your brain.
It was rotten to begin with. Up to the next. It's the garden hose water that rotten. You're just keeping it alive now. I need to put it in the Robot Chicken's. Honestly, if you have not checked out Robot Chicken, you're living wrong. I'm just gonna say it. You're living wrong. You don't understand. And if you're easily offended, please watch it even more.
Oh yeah. God, don't say that.
Please watch it some more.
On
It'll
that
cure
note,
you.
That's when the bad comments will happen.
No, it'll cure you from being offended because it'll make you look at life and go, "Oh God, really?" I'll never look at Optimus Prime again. You've ruined Optimus Prime for me, you people. All right, guys, that's it. Next week, I promise I won't be back. I'll be back to just be a voice in the background as I get yelled at. 51 minutes, Rob. All right, guys. Anything before we go? Where can they follow you, Mike?
Basically Twitter and Instagram. Those are my two big ones. I should need to get on the others.
There we go. We'll see him on Kickstarter in 2022.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Where can we find you?
Redheaded Ed at Twitter and redheadeded.com.
And you can follow me at MrAnderSin.com. And don't use things like Linktree. They're the dumbest things ever. Build your own damn website. Build your own website and have people go to your website. Why are you paying someone else to do the job you're supposed to be doing? If you're a creator, use a website, use a Facebook, use your Twitter, damn it, and make a section that has your links. Do not interact with third parties to do the work you're supposed to be doing. Stop being lazy. Because I'm telling you right now, one day Linktree is going to go away, and you're not even going to know they went away because they're not going to care. Own what you do. That's what I like about Comic Book School. They have their own forums. They have their own website. They own what they do. That is their own intellectual property right now. And it's a way for you to get an education. So join us next week. Same buddy time, same buddy channel, but Buddy will be back. Happy birthday, Mrs. Skeletor.